Cody Rhodes leaving AEW. Where's he going? Let's talk about it. Let's go.
Let's go. This ain't the fuck like Austin thinking he stinks.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
What's going on, everybody? Lazy booking, first show since end of June, beginning of July. I don't even know.
Long time.
Long time.
Long
Happy
time.
to be back, guys. I am Chrome, joined by Mr. Pete Evans, my co-host of Birds of a Feather, coming at you guys with a special episode here of Lazy Booking. First time back because, listen, we got one of the biggest stories of the last 10 years in professional wrestling, and we're going to talk about Mr. Cody Rhodes. And we're going to break this whole situation down. We're really excited to do it. We're going to go through all kinds of things here with you, whether it's the whole story about leaving, his legacy of AEW, WWE, possibly bound, and we're going to preview the upcoming pay-per-view. But first and foremost, we got to give love to our show sponsor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. So make sure you guys are checking out our doc. He's the best in the business. Our topic of conversation, as we said, Cody Rhodes. And our poll question is brought to you by All Campus, home of A2D Rant Booth. And they're giving 20% off of everything in the store, including hats, shirts, and our team cornhole sets to all subscribers. So make sure you guys are checking them out. All Campus. Poll question tonight. First time in a while, Pete. I'm excited to talk some wrestling, which has been a long time since I felt like I'm excited to talk about wrestling. Cody Rhodes to WWE would be the biggest free agent signing yet. We're talking about in terms of this new company war that we're seeing. You know, it's no longer the Monday Night Wars, right? But this new kind of, companies, these top-notch companies. So we've seen a lot of them. We're going to go through them. But Pete, we want to know, buddy, agree or disagree? This is the biggest free agent signing between these two companies, WWE and AEW, to date. To kind of surmise where we're going, let's just say since obviously 2019 when AEW was first announced. And you got names like Jericho, Moxley, lots of names out there. What do you say, Pete?
Yeah, since you preface it like that, since it's been a two-way street, since there's been two companies, it's always been so far up until this point, AEW take in some form of capacity. I mean, if Stardust gets used right, there is no maturation. If they signed the Young Bucks after their dark match, there is no. So many things had to culminate and happen, and it had to be the perfect storm for AEW to even get started off the ground. And then since now that's happened, it's been people coming up from WWE crossing into AEW, whether it be Rusev, aka Miro, whether it be Aleister Black, aka what is he called now? And I call him Tommy N.
Malachi Black.
The
House
Tommy
of Black.
N. Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish. So I mean, this here, I would agree to the poll because it will be the first iteration of, I want to say WWE admitting that they've wrong. It would be the first acknowledgement that AEW is real and it is something that exists. I don't think the Bryan Danielson going over there, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him. I call him Bryan Danielson. It was easy turnaround for me. Some people it was tougher. But even CM Punk coming back, that was big. I mean, this is because Cody's not the same. When you get Cody now, you get a more experienced Cody. You get a more seasoned Cody. You get a Cody that's more well-traveled and well-versed, and that is more of a star and an aura about it. And that fans know what he did in ROH. Fans know how ROH led the NGPW. Fans know he was the IGPW US Heavyweight Champion. Fans know he was the one to take the title off of Nick Aldis before he had his 1,000-day run with the big with the 10 pounds of gold. And fans know the marquee what he's seen with AEW, because every AEW's Vince getting, if he goes back to WWE, we all know AEW is the hotter company right now. It's not as cliche for AEW to sign a WWE talent. We haven't seen WWE sign an AEW talent. So it has to be agreed to the poll for me.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, and I would agree with you. And there's a lot of factors that I think you have to factor into this, right? Keep those comments coming in, guys. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, sharing this out, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you guys are checking us out. Share this with your friends. Jump in the conversation. We want to see what your comments are and your feelings on this. But here's the deal, right? And I think we, long before I had this little hiatus here, we had talked about this previously. I never felt like it was a war or that there was truly a competition, because you got to remember AEW just started 3 years ago.
Yep.
A lot of these contracts that have been signed, all these guys have been locked in. There was only one way for the door to revolve.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that we were coming up to that point, right? You saw the Bucks. You saw the reports that the Bucks contract had been up. And all these contracts, too, they have options, right? They're not, it's not like the old, mutual options or this and that. These are all company options to pick up. They picked up the Bucks for an additional 1 or 2 years. I know I saw the report Jericho's contract would have been up this year. His contract option was picked up, and he's going to be there until 2023, towards the end of 2023, before he has to negotiate a deal. Now, we've seen names, Big Swole, Brian Cage, Joey Janela, quite a few names of people that were going to be leaving AEW. And I do think that Brian Cage at some point will end up in WWE. It seems like it was more of a fit. I don't think they utilize him in AEW properly, and I do think that he's a guy who is more suited for the WWE brand. I think Wardlow is a guy who's like that too. That being said, there was only one way for this door to start revolving, right? When you look at this, and you look at this situation of, this is a guy that in 2016 was not happy, that he left the company, wasn't happy with the Stardust gimmick and a lot of the creative, and he leaves the company and says, I'm going to go out there. He basically did what AJ Styles did when AJ Styles left Impact Wrestling. He left the company, said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a name for myself. And he went to Impact Wrestling. He went to NJPW. He went to ROH. And Cody built himself as a main event star, as a world champion. And had the creative, there's something in those Rhodes genes, something in those genetics that these guys just have. They're able to create a vision and create something amazing out of it. And when you look, this is one of the founding members of the competition. This is one of the guys with the Bucks that went out there and said, we're going to prove the concept at All In before there's even a company there. We're going to prove that we can pull this talent. These guys that get overlooked, these girls that get overlooked, we're going to bring them in and we're going to prove that there's a concept there that can work. That if properly put together, bringing the right people in front and in the back ends together, we can build a legitimate competition. And they went out there and they did it in 2019. And, I've heard people, you mentioned CM Punk, right? To me, it was a big moment for them to bring in CM Punk. However, I don't look at him as a defection from WWE when you're gone for 7 years, right?
Right.
So the two names that I really put in comparison are Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley.
Okay.
That's the two top tier names. Adam Cole, we all know Adam Cole. Adam Cole was never a main roster guy, though. We talked about basically the Undisputed Era, or whatever they're calling themselves now. Red Dragon and all that. All big signings, all big names, all contributions. You could put Brian Danielson in that conversation as well. But to me, the most comparable name, and even over Moxley, is Chris Jericho. Because Chris Jericho was a Hall of Famer already, multiple-time world champion. And for him to defect and come over and basically be the first big free agent signing, most recognizable signing.
Right.
That was a game changer. That was a game changer. So when I look at what changes the game here, this Cody Rhodes signing, if it comes to fruition, and we know nothing is official, we're speaking in conjecture, we're speaking in, on possibilities here. This is, you're pulling not just a top name, you're pulling a founding father of the company, someone who from
pillar, if you will.
A pillar, if you will. I mean, you're pulling an unbelievable, like, this is just, and he's, and with where he's built himself to, right? Now, we're going to talk about some of the reports and some of the back end stuff that seems to have been going on. The tug of war on some things, but to pull this name, who Cody Rhodes, arguably, without question, was the hottest name in pro wrestling outside of WWE for 3 or 4 years. And I don't even think it was close. I think he helped to revive indie wrestling and put it on a mainstream. Ring of Honor's been there in these companies, but Cody Rhodes was that name, right? That Chris Jericho coming from WWE and putting his label there. Cody was the first one to do it. Cody was the one who, and he said it in his own promo, who all the things CM Punk talked about doing, he went out there and did it.
Yep.
He had all those matches on the indies. He checked off his list. He talked about the change that needed to happen, the revolution, and he was the figurehead behind it. Tony Khan was the money guy, who was a fan, who has an understanding of the business, but it was Cody Rhodes, more than the Bucks, more than Omega, who was the difference maker, and then bringing Jericho in. Yep. I think this easily has to be an agree. I don't even think it's close. Again, arguably Jericho would maybe be the second closest, because you're talking about mainstream names. And the fact that nobody would have thought you would ever see this.
Nope.
No way anybody thought that you would see this, Pete. It's just, it was one of those stories when it broke. And I don't know about you, but I've had some conversations with some people of,
you're way more in the know that I am. So,
well, it was just one of those things, right? We had that conversation. Is this a work? Because they did start to put it in front of the camera, right? With the whole Sammy Guevara stuff, and they really talked about it. But then again, I also looked at it very strange that Cody's out for 2 weeks and they have an interim champion. It was one of the most bizarre storylines I've seen.
Why make 2 belts?
It just was very bizarre, but I almost look back now, and in hindsight, I say, okay, maybe this is a way, okay, this was the direction we were going. Now Cody's leaving, and let's give Sammy that moment on an unbelievable ladder match, by the way.
Yeah.
On the way out. And then we can kind of address how we're gonna put this exit out there. There's a lot of talk about this being a work. I don't think it is. And we're gonna talk about a lot of the signs out there that kind of push back against that. But to me, 100%, this has to be the biggest signing, and I don't even think it's that close. Rob Povia, Cody could easily go to either Ring of Honor or NJPW 2. Ring of Honor's not coming back for a few months. NJPW could be a spot, but there's so much here now for Cody. There's so much here in the U.S. Cody's building that. He's building that resume for life after wrestling right now, right? He's a mainstream star now. He has television shows. He's a household name that people know. I don't know that a move to NJPW fits what we saw for Cody Rhodes 4 years ago. Right. It's a different level for him now. I don't know that fits. And Ring of Honor, to me, it's just not big enough.
Yeah. And
they don't have the financial backing of Tony Khan to really make a push. Cody's got a kid now. He's got a child, daughter. And I think that I think the relationship is going to be very different now for him to go to WWE and maybe not have as much of the stress on his plate right now. Maybe he can be home and be more of a father. So we'll talk about that. Jeff Warner says, glad to have Chrome and Lazy Booking back. I have to disagree with Paul. Cody, I think, will draw some interest and turn some heads initially, but long-term storyline direction, I'm not sure it will move the needle. It's a fair point. And we can discuss that. I do have some of the creative concerns. However, again, counter reports of what the relationship could be with Vince at this point might be very different. Vince is giddy about this, according to everything that's anybody who's close to this. But let's get into our first topic. So, and obviously our first topic brought to you by Manscaped. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. I want you to unlock your confidence. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. I'm a big, hey, listen, you know me. If you're a workout junkie or you're somebody who likes to go to like Disney, Universal, and walk around the parks, whatever you do, I'm all about that ball deodorant. I'm just telling you right now, it's a lifesaver. You're going to love it. Make sure you guys check it out, manscaped.com. Promo code A2D. Get your 20% off and your free shipping. So first topic, we're going to dive a little bit deeper now. Cody and Brandi Rhodes both leaving AEW. Statements released individually by all of them. Pete, your initial reactions to the news dropping?
I was shocked. I mean, you dropped it, and we have an A2D chat that we use, and I was like, wow. Because like you said, this door was only revolving in one direction. This has been a one-way street. And I kind of hinted to this something similar back in the Punk signing in August. I was like, okay, we get Punk, we get Danielson, All Out, one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time, any brand, it doesn't matter. And it was so hyped up, and it lived up to the hype. But I was like, okay, I don't know what their deals were, but simple math, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a point to where they can't keep all this hunky-dory. There's going to be a point where there's going to be some contention of people who feel like they were, like you said, while Cody was a founding member of AEW, there's talent there that's been there since day one, and now other talents coming in. It's like you're going to start to have this vibe to where what's so similar about this? We were different. We were building something. Now every opportunity it seemed like we got that Tony Khan got to put his hand in the pot and steal somebody, he stole. You know what I mean? And it was like rapid fire. So I'm like, okay. Then how Cody, the booing, how I've never liked since 2019 when they did the whole him and Jericho at the third pay-per-view, I think. If he loses, he can never challenge. And I was like, okay, well, Cody's trajectory. I'm like, because up until that point, it was almost as if Cody wanted the AEW booking not to go to him because he was so hot. He was trying to take the fire off of himself and trying to promote others, where I was just like, just ride with it, dog. Like, be the top guy. You are like, to me, that very first title match should have been him versus Omega and him going over. You know what I mean? Him having as Jericho is Jericho. Don't get me wrong, but you could have easily went that way. When you talk about his legacy ultimately as a whole being shocked, that's one thing from his legacy that is missing, because he carried the TNT title, but it meant something when he first got it, and him being the first champion. I didn't like how the way he went over Archer anyway, but that's it. He was a 3-time TNT champion. And the three, outside of being a founding member, he's going to be removed from the footnotes of history. Name a band, Linkin Park, former members. Rest in peace, Chester. You feel what I'm saying? But there's probably a member in there that started from day one.
Yeah.
You hear about that bitch now?
No.
You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of, it's not on that level, but it's kind of the same thing. Ultimately, the legacy as a whole. And from what we're hearing, as much of it was him, it was Brandi too. And it's a strong personality to deal with from what we've seen, good and bad. And when you have that various different people on the aisle where some support, some don't vehemently, going in that direction and they feel strong in their opinions, you kind of have that feeling where you just go, how long is this going on? When did this start? Did this start right away? Did this start even before what's the first pay-per-view in May? I'm forgetting it.
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. Before Double or Nothing. When did it start at Double or Nothing? Like, how long before did all this contention start? And how long was this work environment like that? Just from them, that you can cut that tension with a knife. So his legacy to me, it like he did more for the. I will say this to me, and this is ultimate for me. He did more for the company behind the scenes than in front of the camera in the ring. I felt like his legacy in the ring left a lot to be desired. I felt like he was very passive. He did the job for Malachi. He put him over, put Sammy over, put Brody Lee, God rest his soul, put him over. He put
MJF.
so many MJF, put MJF over. I mean, he did work. What he was supposed to do, he put people over, and he never. And where did it go? And I don't know if he didn't want to turn heel, if Tony didn't want to turn him heel. I think
he didn't want to turn heel.
He didn't want to turn heel. Okay, so I think Sixers with the win.
Wow.
Sixers with the win.
That's a big win right there.
That's a huge win going into the All-Star break, especially after that 48-point loss to the Celtics. God.
Yeah, all the morons out there who were jumping off the Walt Whitman, the Ben Franklin the other day, they can get off the ledge now.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I just feel like his legacy means more to the company of what we see in AEW than what he actually did as a performer. And the way
I mean, that's the thing, right? I think there's so many different sides to this, right? Wrestling fans are a lot like, the things I love and hate about Philly sports fans. The passion is there, but there's a certain mindset that everything has to be one way, right? And, I look at his legacy, and you're right. You go back to that very first pay-per-view where he faced Dustin, right? What an amazing match. That's an iconic match in that company from day one, still to this day, a top 2 or 3 match in the history of that company. Another one of those moments, right? They wanted to have a WrestleMania match. Vince didn't believe it could be something. They proved that concept, right? Cody did a lot of this over time. But you look at the work behind the scenes, as you said, building a brand. I thought, so I know when you watch reality stuff, there are aspects of it that are scripted-ish. Mm-hmm. So I look at, if you watch Rhodes to the Top and you hear Brandi, I don't understand this need to step into the ring. She does a great promo. It's no offense.
Right.
She's okay. In a company that really isn't very deep in the women's division. Right. Although they're getting better. Mm-hmm. People like Ruby Riott being there, or Ruby Soho.
Serena Deeb's on fire right now too.
She is. There's a character there that's developing very strongly with the 5-minute challenges. But I look at Cody, and he had so many. Listen, there were some downsides. The Anthony Ogogo thing did not go well. Nope. I agree with you with the title not being. To me, it's a missed opportunity not to put the title on him. Not allowing him to be a world champion this whole time. And I get it, storyline. I appreciate that they stuck with a storyline for that long. But at some point, like, you want Cody Rhodes to get his comeuppance on MJF, get his opportunity to go for the title back, and you want to see him have that moment, right? It's a chase. Yep. Never got that payoff. And you're right. I just don't understand the contention that people have with Cody because he's a big enough star now that he wants to do projects outside of the company. I mean, the thing with Cody too, and this is where there's a vast difference in the fan bases, right? AEW fans just believe that you can't do anything else.
Right.
And I think that Cody looks at it and Cody understands that to get to that WWE level long term, you need mainstream faces. You do have CM Punk and you have Jericho now. Punk's mainstream enough. I mean, a casual person doesn't know him, but most sports fans know him because he competed in UFC. And if you're a fan of Walking Dead, you know, he did Talking Dead and he's done other things. He's in the comic book world. But, you know, outside of Jericho, who I think is one of those guys now most people know who he is.
Right.
You just don't have enough of that level of firepower. You know, people know who The Miz is. People know who Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey is. People know who Charlotte Flair is. The list goes on. Right. You look at the WWE roster, whether you love them or hate them. We got Will Raleigh Sports Raleigh. Hi, guys from the UK. Best women's wrestler in the world, Serena Deeb, Thunder Rosa, Charlotte. Appreciate you joining us from the UK, Will. Hope you join us every week. We also have
it's like what, 5 o'clock in the morning, Raleigh?
That's
you getting
crazy.
Ready for work?
You must be getting up for work.
Something.
Appreciate you, Raleigh, joining us from the UK. Talking Cody Rhodes here. But I think that Cody understands that somebody has to be that person, right?
Yep.
And I never understood it. Like, you read in the reports that some people didn't like the booking decisions. How? He put everybody over. Even if he had moments, right, where he came back and, you know, he put Brody Lee over, he came back, he won the title back in the dog collar match. He ended up dropping the title. Like, he was never really a long-term champion for anything.
No, it's transitional every time. Every
time he was a transitional champion. And again, I don't understand the hate for him because people want him to turn. So what's he, the new John Cena now? Oh, we want him to turn heel, so we're going to boo him. It makes no sense to me because I don't see him being any different. He's still one of the best promos in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood it. He's a guy who could book himself to be the most over guy in the world. And he did the exact opposite of that. And when you look at the in-ring work, in terms of match quality, he made everybody look like $1 million. Didn't matter if it was Joey Janela or Sammy Guevara. He made everybody look like $1 million. And he was also, like you talk behind the scenes, when you talk about, you know, opening things up and inclusivity, you know, the foresight to bring in people like Sonny Kiss, who was put into a box, or Nyla Rose, who aren't people that you see on your screen every day. And that's not, that shouldn't be that way.
Anthony Bowens.
Absolutely. You look at these people and this is exactly the vision that he saw. I just don't understand the idea of the hate on him. Because he does the Go Big show.
Right. And furthermore, to your point, fans, I think they thought that he had the control. He was taking this direction, right? So they booed him. And then now we're finding out, no.
He has no creative control.
He had no creative control.
No, it was totally 100% on Tony.
All Tony. So AEW fans, like we seen this, like their core fan base, how quick they are to react. You know, we saw it with the whole Big Swole thing, and then sometimes they just don't put themselves in a good light. Now we're seeing it here at the same time. But I mean, his legacy, like I said, for me, it will always be a founding member.
Hey, who was the first ones to put Jade Cargill over? Who was the first ones to be the punching bag for her in her early promos?
Was it Cody?
It was Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
Cody Rhodes was the punching bag.
Now,
he came in.
Back to Wild Riley's comment, they may be the best women's wrestlers. Best draw is Jade. There's no woman like her.
No, I mean, she's something else, man.
Oh,
can you imagine? I'll tell you what, if Vince could get his hands on her, bro, their dollar signs all over her. But I never understood that. And now that kind of transitions us, you know, well, before we transition that second point, because you do look at all the reports. There was contention backstage where some people thought they didn't like booking thing. They said that they isolated themselves a little bit more, and maybe so. You know, I'm sure there's displeasure, you know, and to me, ultimately, I don't think it's unreasonable for him to ask for Jericho or Punk money or Bryan money.
Right.
You know, Cody is a star on that level. He is. Yep. He's a worldwide star at this point, and he's one of your founders.
Yep.
He had he was a huge figure in the creative vision to build this company that you're going to continue, and I'm happy, continue to carry that flag and carry those beliefs and morals and characteristics going forward. And I imagine maybe it's a case of I could see where this is heading, and then the report too, Pete, right? How we heard over a year ago that the Bucks and Omega and Cody were not talking, right?
Yep.
But now the report, everything that's out there now is their relationship actually improved. All the EVPs, their relationships improved over the last year.
Right. When he used the word Kenneth in his statement, I'm wondering this. I don't think he's calling him Kenneth to his face. Put it like that.
Really?
Kenneth?
Well, I mean, it's his name.
I've never heard anyone else refer to him as Kenneth.
But maybe that's something he calls him behind the scenes.
Well, it could be a rib. It could be a rib.
Or in like a friend. Like, you know, I have people, you know, you guys call me, some people call me Chrome, but then, you know, privately they call me Michael. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just
ever called you Michael.
No, you have.
I have.
Rarely, but you have. maybe at a point of contention where you're like, listen, Michael. But it's a shame to see the divorce of this, I'll be honest. But in a weird way,
you're excited.
I'm excited because I do think this moves the needle for WWE. This is a main event star that they needed. This is a guy who has a chance to come back and have the ultimate redemption story back to where it all started. Has the chance. When we get to our fourth topic or our third topic, we'll talk about how we feel about the potential of creative. But I feel like this is it's a moment we never thought we would see, and for that, selfishly,
this soon, I would say this. I
always felt like he could come back.
Right, we knew there was going to be the one that was big from AEW that potentially WWE can pull, and there's always that first one. I knew this was going to happen with the person, but insert blank Cody. I never thought it would be them this early when they're a founder member. I thought it was going to be MJF when his deal came up.
And I agree. Julie Wilt says, I think if he goes to WWE, it'd be a huge win. I would agree. I agree with you, Pete. MJF was probably the first name I had in my mind.
Because I don't even think Wardlow, who fits that mold, would have been good.
Well, ironically enough, and I have the book here, actually. I intend to read it. Whoops.
Knocking shit down.
This is one of the next books. I have two books. It's The Rise of AEW and this book.
Yeah.
He actually surprisingly talks, and this is just from what I've been told from people I've read. He talks very well about Vince in there. Okay. So I think a lot of what you heard from those interviews were kind of off the cuff, reactionary, but he actually speaks very highly of Vince, and he likes Vince a lot. I could have seen him down the road returning.
As Moxley, no Dean Ambrose. Not
maybe, but this was the big surprise. This was probably the last one I would have seen. MJF I would have seen down the road. And I'll be honest with you, I think Omega.
Finally.
I have seen him do interviews. So I'm into this guy who does these like Ryan Brodo is into him too. There's this doctor who does these chiropractic adjustments.
You talking about Bo Hightower?
Yeah.
Of course.
So do you watch his interviews that he does while he does adjustments? I'm like hooked to them. I've watched them.
He just did an Asian comedian, and he was like, in one movie, he's like, "How did you crack my balls?"
Did you see he did that dude who was like in the prison photo who had no neck?
Yeah.
I mean, they're crazy. They're crazy.
It makes you feel like how messed up your own body is.
Oh my! Well, that's me going down that rabbit hole was what got me to start going to a chiropractor, and it's the best thing I've done. But anyway, I watched the Omega one like a month ago.
Okay.
And he speaks very highly of WWE, like in good ways about.
He's probably planting the seed, bro.
I mean, I that's a name I would have seen, but and down the road, not anytime soon, but. Yeah, this being the first big domino to me is the first shot officially fired in saying, okay, now this is a war. Because again, Pete, before we move on to the next point, there was no way that the door was able to revolve in the other way. Everybody was locked in. And I think WWE now AEW is starting to run into the issue now too.
It's one thing to get there and you build. How do you keep? So you got to make it now. Khan has to make a decision. Do I keep these same people around, or now what talent do I have here to elevate to that level? And now you can't take stars. You took stars already. You took proven names.
Yeah.
And even I would even say Hangman Page, lesser name, but had a name. Now you pull in somebody who doesn't have any name at all. This is your company's the first exposure to a major promotion.
Yeah.
Can you do it with them?
Yeah. And they're starting to hit that wall, by the way, with all the log jams of talent. Remember when it was, oh man, Sean Spears is going to be huge over there, and Jake Hager are going to be huge stars, and Miro.
Where's Miro been?
Well, supposedly he's doing like a project right now, but that being said, he wasn't being used before then.
That's true. After he dropped the title,
nothing. Pac, you kind of see in and out. He's doing the thing with Black now, but I just look at it, and at some point, we're not going to release talent. We're not going to do that. It's going to happen, especially if you're talent collecting. This is how WWE got into the issue they did, because they realized when the pandemic hit how much talent they were literally throwing money at to sit at home just to keep them away from anybody else. And they realized this is not a way to do business. We can still thrive financially, and these guys can go elsewhere.
Keyword.
Right. And these guys can go elsewhere, or ladies.
Yep.
Look at Soho. Look at Ruby Soho. Love Ruby Soho. They put a decent rocket ship to the background. To me, she's the best women's wrestler in that company. Not even close. Even over Britt Baker. Britt Baker's a big personality.
Yeah, Britt Baker's she's a bigger draw, bigger personality, bigger character. But Ruby is probably a better.
Ruby is now starting to count up the losses and putting people over. It's inevitable when you are talent collecting, and that's what they're starting to do. And now they're hitting a logjam.
Remember, the wins and losses meant something there.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you have all these different points, the conflicting reports now, where the report that Brandi wasn't liked, and now you're seeing all this talent come out and say, absolutely not.
Nyla Rose was very vehemently like, stop, Vicky. Like, this is bullshit. Stop making shit up.
Vicky, yep. A lot of people. And she's another one, right? You look at what she did for that company in terms of the brand management. You look at the AEW heels. I loved that concept for a group of women who are fans of pro wrestling. It's a really cool thing. And I think that they're going to be missed. I think that they're going to realize there's going to be they'll thrive and they'll go on.
Where did you watch Wednesday? As I watched, I don't remember were they still in the opening credits? The intro?
I didn't see the intro. I don't remember them the intro, but they mentioned Cody's name a couple of times in talking about other talent, but they never mentioned, because that was one of the things is, are they going to mention?
Is it going to be the kibosh on their name? Like, you can't say the last name.
It's not even that. Were they going to acknowledge the fact that he's leaving? Right. I kind of think that maybe they should have, but they didn't, and that's fine. But yeah, it's just a really crazy situation over there. Now, moving on to our second topic here, Pete, and this is going to be about Cody's AEW Final Legacy, which is brought to us by FanUp. It's the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. You win great prizes. Sign up today. Promo code A2D. It's going to get you 5,000 bonus points. That's a value of $50 at fanup.app. Listen, they got everything there. I mentioned it before. I'm going to say it again. They got bets you can put on The Bachelor. Get in there, right? That girl finally went home, by the way, Pete. Shanae.
Which one was? I was watching. I caught it. I was in the
stirring
gym.
It up, Pete.
Huh?
She was the one stirring it up.
I watched it Tuesday when was it Monday? It comes on Mondays or Tuesdays? Mondays. I was at the gym and I seen it. And I remember the one girl was talking to the guy. She was crying. She's like, I can't take this. This is not a true reflection. I was like, I wonder if this is the girl from Collinswood.
It was the blonde. It was the blonde.
Okay.
Yeah, they sent her home. Shanae, see you later. Mara, though, our girl from Collingswood, New Jersey, she's still there. Anyway, get in, place your bets, anything you want. Again, anything from sports, daily contests, everything. Check them out. FanUp.app. Love them. One of the best betting sites out there. Cody Rhodes' legacy in AEW, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to ask you flat out. I'm going to assume, with where Cody's at in his life, that I don't know that we see him in any kind of a full-time capacity ever again in AEW. So my question to you, what is Cody Rhodes' legacy coming out of this?
In-ring missed opportunities. Those are the two words I would say. Missed opportunities. Was involved in some great storylines, but always elevated. Never, and I would say very, I would say, I want to use the word forgiving, but very flexible into how he worked. Like we talked about the Brody arc. Loses, squash, really. Dog collar match, comes back, redemption, but never had anything long-standing or tangible.
Got squashed by Black, too.
Yeah, several times. 2 matches in a row, obviously he wins. But then it doesn't do anything from there. He's on to the next one. It was like he wore the bullseye on his back, like you said, with Jay. Early promos, Cody, Rhodes. So that's why I said, like, it's just ring-wise, it's missed opportunities. Promos were good. One of the last promos he cut, like you said, when he went in there and he said, everything that you praised this guy for, I actually did. This is my pipe bomb. Nothing. But like you said, I feel like some people there who really want to clap in the crowd, they see the masses booing, so they roll with it. You know what I mean? But then they probably go home and think like, yo, what Cody was saying was right. What Cody was saying is the truth. And now really with him not being there forever, how long, if it is so-called, where this would be, like Povia said earlier, this would be one of the greatest works of ever, all time. Now without him there and without Omega there present, and you had the combination of the two, obviously Omega's not there he's not there for different reasons. Obviously he's hurt, tending to his body. When you go put on 5-6 star matches, if you're Dave Meltzer, you get banged up. So
yeah.
Then him dealing with the vertigo shit for that long is just ridiculous. I don't know how. But now you get to see, okay, we booed this guy. It was easy to boo him. And he was trying to be good. He was trying to stand for all the things that he meant. He said these things once he left WWE, and he held true to those in ROH and GPW and New Japan, and he also held true to him here in AEW. Who's next? Like, who does that heat now go to? You feel what I'm saying? Like, who does that Venom now go to that now that he's not there? Who's now your punching bag? You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's what AEW universe fan base, whatever you want to call them. So legacy wise, it's just missed opportunities. It should have been better. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
Should have been better and could have been better.
Yeah.
There's no way he should not have had a reign as AEW champion in 3 years.
Agreed. I think I look back and I look at what his legacy will be. I think it will be pioneer, visionary.
Very poignant word.
I think that it will be. I think you hit the nail on the head with missed opportunity. I think that's a big problem. Inexcusable, in my opinion, that Cody Rhodes is never the AEW World Champion. Inexcusable.
Could have had him win the Battle Royal. Could he had him win a tournament? Anything to supersede that step to where, okay, that's like somebody's you're net edge. He can never contend for the title against Reigns. All right, fuck it. I'm gonna put myself in the Rumble. If they would have did that with Lesnar this year, he beats him at the last Saudi pay-per-view. He can never challenge Roman again for the Universal Championship.
Yeah.
Enters himself in the Rumble. Got to.
Yep.
You know, it's like, and that's the same thing. And that's the other thing. They sometimes with AEW, what they do is they segment their stars, like, and they feel like the TNT title picture sometimes needs to be boosted.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, like, with this whole Revolution ladder match. Why is that not for the AEW title?
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? Like, why are we doing that for the TNT title? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had my questions. You know, I wanted Paige to get a title run.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say I'm underwhelmed with what I've seen. And I mean, the matches have been...
The matches are amazing.
They've been really good. I
Right.
mean, how many times do we have to go to the blood and guts? Well, you know what I mean? I feel like it's every match. I felt like even with Cody early on that we were seeing that.
That was his calling card. He was...
Right.
Yeah.
It became a thing. So I kind of worry about that. Not a fan of the promo work from him. The cowboy shit thing is kind of annoying to me.
It's cool when you're a child. It's cool when you were chasing.
Yeah.
Now you're a champion. Act like a champion.
Yeah. I'm not buying into that. I'm hoping that Cole takes the title off him in Orlando. I think that needs to happen. I'll be there. So I'm excited for that.
You're actually going.
Yeah, I'll be down there. So I got tickets to go. So I'll be at Revolution. But yeah, overall, visionary, pioneer, missed opportunity. I think missed opportunity really stands out to me big time in a lot of ways, not just the creative side of things. His ability to develop and to pioneer or to push for young talent, champion young talent, I think is going to be missed. I believe in that whole Nightmare Factory thing. I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, they didn't reference that. They didn't reference that with Moriarty this week
because they said he's still a part of it.
Right.
So I mean, it's his thing. So I don't know how that's going to work. But
QT Marshall, bitch. No, it's Marshall, motherfucker.
Wesley Mahan says TK is a big late 1990s WCW WF mark until Cody shows up in WWE. I'm convinced this is a replay of Flair quote leaving WCW in '95. It's a fair point. Fair point. It could be.
But why go through all this trouble?
Well, so the reason I think why it's not a thing, Pete,
right,
and this is what I would push back on this. At that time, you were talking front office and talent,
right?
And how involved Cody is with the company, and there are lines drawn. There's a lot of concern that's been expressed from multiple sources that if they're working the talent over, the entire locker room over with this, with everything that's come out about the creative process and things with Cody, bringing him and Brandi back into the fold would be a negative on the locker room.
Yeah.
So I think it's very different than what that was. That was storyline, but there's a lot of truth to a lot of the contention. And it's been out there for months, or for years, really. The stuff with the Bucks and Omega, the divide in the locker room for people picking sides, you know. I think the concern now is they're pushing in a certain direction, and by working them with something like this could create an issue in the locker room. So I don't, at first I thought, oh, maybe it could be. I really don't believe it's a work now. I think that where Cody's at now, here's the thing too, guys, and this is what I really truly believe. WCW, geez, now I'm looking at them. AEW is the place for pro wrestlers. WWE is the place for superstars. And I'm talking megastars.
That want to make money outside of just the ring.
Who can wrestle.
Yep.
Being a mainstream star with the WWE logo behind you is a lot more powerful, no offense to AEW, than what an AEW and TNT and then, you know, AOL Turner, whatever the hell they're called now. I don't even know what it's not AOL Turner. What is it? Turner.
It's Turner Network something.
Whatever. So
is Ted Turner still around?
I
He's 83 years old. He's worth
believe he runs.
$2.3 billion.
I don't think he runs it at this point. So yeah, let's go on to the third topic. Slide it down to the third topic here. BetUS. It's brought to you by BetUS. It's a leading online sports book. It's been in the market for over 25 years, and you can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. You're going to use that link that we drop in the comments section here, and for up to 125% sign up bonus. So check them out. BetUS. Find the link in the comments section. Use that promo code. Listen, Cody Rhodes, and it's all conjecture right now. We're talking hypothetically, potential of Cody going to WWE. Lots of reports out there that there was conversations that WWE was in the know prior to the announcement coming down. That Vince is giddy as a schoolboy right now, and the potential to bring in a big name like Cody from the competition, a founding father, to throw him back into the fold. It sounds like the creative process is going to be a whole lot different. He's going to have, if this goes down, he's going to have say in his creative process. This is what we thought we would never see. But in a way, I'm kind of happy, and I'll tell you why. The whole purpose of this was to leave there and prove that you're a main event star.
Yep.
Now, I think that needs to be validated. I think at some point he needs a world title run.
Yep.
But to bring him back, and Pete, I think about the dream matches, right? And not some we've seen, but we're talking about on like a main event, WrestleMania, SummerSlam scale.
Right.
AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns now.
Yep. Roman Reigns now is just...
It's just... Put the American Nightmare
level,
versus the head of the table, dude. Come on, are you kidding me?
Yep. Even head of the tables have nightmares.
They do.
That's the plug line right there.
You just cut Cody's first promo right there. But I just think about what the potential that could be out there for this, Pete, and it's mind blowing. And we're talking about the top of the card talent, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So this is kind of one subject I had a lot to say, because this is where people are saying it's a word. This is the thing. Cody, this is prime, like you said. He wanted to prove he was a main event star. He proved he could play on that level. Now it has to be validated in WWE. What you just said before about AEW being for professional wrestlers, WWE being for superstars that can wrestle, can take you. So he's never going to get this much leverage with WWE ever again. This is his shot to call his own number. And Vince is almost like, here's a blank piece of paper, write down what you want. He's never, ever going to have that. And like you said, while WWE may not be the best product for strictly wrestling fans, they're making money hand over fist. They've never been as profitable as they are right now. So he's in a prime position to be a prime commodity, not even in a bidding war, but just worth it to Vince. Why I don't think he goes to New Japan, why I don't think he goes to ROH, on top of what you've already said, Cody's in a different spot in his life. He's now a father. And he wants to be home. He doesn't want to be in Japan, especially with COVID. I understand numbers is down right now. It's because everybody fucking had it and everybody has antibodies right now. That's why the numbers are down. Let's holla at me in 30 to 90 days. Holla at me 60, 90 days.
Well, the next holiday. When weather gets nice and people start hanging out and doing barbecues and stuff again. Yep.
So he'll never have this shot again. This is his Eminem. You only get one shot, one moment to own it. You never let it go. This is it. This is why I said people say it's a work. If it's a work, that's cool. If he goes back to AEW, he has to have a world title run. He has to embrace being the heel. That's it. You have to be doing this. That's why if it's a work, people, what's the payoff for him coming back?
Yeah. I mean, I think too, just think about the potential of there's people who want to call him a sellout. Embrace it. bring him in and embrace that.
Yeah.
You know, you can do a lot of things. You can embrace that. You can bring him in and you can do the whole, like, you know, don't ignore what happened in 2016. I left this company for and Cody, promo-wise, is hands down top 3, top 5 in the entire business. Not even close.
Not even close.
He can go out there and, I mean, you talk about the 2016, what happened. And I left and I bought your competition out, right? Nobody was even looking in another direction until I left and changed the game. And now I'm back and I'm going to reclaim the spot I should have had the first time I was here.
And you figure there's no trips backstage, no Steph. Fucking have him smash another fucking throne.
Oh, I mean, that's going to be a fun conversation when those two start encountering.
Business. Trips has always been, he's been about business.
Yeah.
Business is business.
Oh, I mean, they all have that mentality, dude. Like, the end of the day, I mean, let's not forget that Triple H was making the comments calling it a pissant company at the Hall of Fame when DX went in to Billy Gunn's face. You know what I mean? It's just, this is just what they do. They don't take it offensively. Damien Hernandez says, question with Cody going to WWE. Do you think that Vince will do anything to run AEW to the ground with Cody being the founder and part owner of AEW? Well, he's not a part owner. He doesn't own it. He's not a part owner. Otherwise, he would still be there. But that's the misconception, unfortunately. It feels like he's an owner. He's a founding father of it. But Tony's the financial backer of the company.
And I feel like
he's going to run AEW to the ground. I don't see Cody doing that.
He can't unless Tony gives him the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, if the thing is, there's a lot of stuff that apparently, you know, like WWE and AEW, Vince and Tony communicate. They work.
I didn't know this. This is news to me.
Well, so there's been multiple reports about how WWE and AEW have been negotiating about utilizing talent for, you know, for different documents and stuff, or documentaries and whatnot. For programming,
like the library and stuff like that.
So there's like a weird kind of like they're opposing companies, but they have like a cordialness between them, even though it doesn't seem that way sometimes. Like Vince understands, like there's a number of his talent there, and if he wants to be able to develop programming, I'm going to have to get along with them. You know what I mean? And vice versa, right? There are opportunities down the road that these companies can be able to supply each other with things. It's like you see with Impact and WWE now, where, you know, they have access to the library and it's just, so I don't see it happening. I think Tony will take his shots, and sometimes I wish he would kind of shut up. I think Tony, the mark comes out of Tony a little bit, and sometimes he needs to be a little more of an owner. You know,
he's
great for Twitter,
Tony is very reactionary from what I've seen. He wears a lot of things, and he takes a lot of things literal, and he's very quick to act. And I think Cody's saying to himself, okay, well, I don't have creative control anymore. If I'm not going to have creative control anymore, I'm going to go to the place to where if I'm not going to have creative control and somebody's really going to be in charge, that can pay me more money. So then at that point, he turns it into a money grab.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, he's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this in a place where I can reinvent myself, reinvent my legacy. Because he's never, and that's WWE. I mean, honestly, how hard would that for him to be in AEW?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I think there's, and just seeing even how they depart, I still think there's a cordial respect between Tony and Cody, even though what they're envisioning is now no longer aligning. There's a respect there. And Cody has too much respect for the business. I don't see them really running. He might make an occasional reference or put himself over in referencing AEW, but I don't see him running them into the ground. Genio Allen says if he goes to WWE and ends up another mid-card flop, that's going to leave a sour taste. Yeah, I mean, that's the risk. That's the risk that you run. In fairness, I'm going to talk about CM Punk right now. Does anybody really think that the CM Punk run's been great? The promos have been pretty solid, but the in-ring work has been subpar.
No, and furthermore, to Gino's point, why? Why would him be in? Everybody that's went from WWE there has been a mid-card. It's been mid-card. Nobody else has had a run.
Moxley.
Minus Moxley. That's it. But Miro gone. For whatever reason. Malachi Black. Now he's in the tag team. He's gonna probably be a tag team champion. Not be TNT champion. Andrade, El Idolo, whatever you want to call it, the idol.
Pac is in some random what's it, the what is it? Death Triad?
Death
Triangle. They got so many of these. They're so everybody's in a faction. It's crazy. Right. I wish there would be a middle ground. WWE doesn't have enough, and they have way too many. They even make the jokes. Everyone has to be in a faction.
Yeah, but then also to Gino's point, if he goes to WWE and he's a mid-card flop, he was fucking mid-card in AEW anyway, and they did that based off of that shit stip back in 2019.
Yeah,
in November. You see, it's like so the level. So it's almost like if he goes to WWE and he takes a chance, yes, it's a chance. But what? So that's what I'm asking to the people who are saying, who maybe not a good idea from the good WWE. If you're in the chat, fam, let me. What is the plan? What's the future for him at AEW? What is the future?
He's not.
What is the future for him booking wise? How would you book Cody?
Well, I mean, at this point too, he's spinning his wheels, right? Because they're obviously continuing to follow through on. He can't compete for the championship.
Just lost the TNT title for the fourth time, third time, whatever it was.
And really, he's already feuded. Outside of like an Adam Cole, he's feuded with everybody who's a top star there now. When you look at Sammy Guevara, when you look at Darby Allin, when you look at Malachi Black, you look at Chris Jericho. Maybe not Hangman Page, but everyone who's in a featured spot, Cody's already done it, and he's put them all over. He's put every one of them over. It's just, there's really, honestly, creatively, there's not much for him to really do there. So at this point, maybe this is an opportunity for Cody to scale it back a little bit, still be involved. Maybe there is a vision down the road that he could be involved in the creative process with WWE. But again, according to all reports, it sounds like Cody is going to have say in at least his own creative process. And I think that Vince looks at him, seeing what he's done with the Nightmare Factory and seeing how he's championed with a lot of the young talent here. I think Vince sees him as an asset to this new NXT 2.0 as well. Because this is
still called a Dusty Classic.
Well, this is talent that they're growing from scratch now, right? They're not utilizing much of the indie talent. They're finding talent in other avenues, which is fine. You want to develop your own talent, it is what it is at this point. Cody could be such an asset in helping in the development of that as well. So it's really fascinating. Many, many possibilities. Do you think so? Before we move on to our final topic, Pete, let me ask. We're gonna tie a bow on this. Couple quick questions, quick hitters. Yes or no? Cody will be in WWE within 2 months.
Yes.
Agreed. I say yes as well. Cody will show up at Saudi Arabia.
Ooh. There's no non-compete?
No. Well, A, they don't do non-competes, and AEW has said that. B, he's not a release. His contract's up. So there's, when Adam Cole's contract ended, he showed up at All Out in, that same week.
I would say
I don't
no.
think it says anything.
I would say no, but I would love it if he did. I just don't see the angle where they could do it.
Yeah, I don't think that he does. Yeah. Suburban Survival says if he goes to WWE, what's that say about Triple H's future? I don't think it says anything about Triple H's future.
What could they do?
If he fills Triple H's role creatively, then maybe that's something to say. But I don't foresee that coming. No, I think you might get that road if he can step back in the ring. Triple H, he had the heart issue.
Right.
I could see that match down the road. Love to see that. Thank you, Dad. Appreciate you, Tom Renault. Loving the hat. Great night to be wearing it. Even though I got some heat for it earlier on Birds of
Yeah, because they were fucking getting their asses handed. I had a Jimmy moment. Okay, leave me alone.
Yeah, I hear you. You did have a Jimmy moment. All right. So you say no, he doesn't appear in Saudi Arabia. I also agree with that. I don't believe he shows up in Saudi Arabia. Will he have a WrestleMania match?
Yes.
Interesting. I want to see him have a WrestleMania match. However, if there's ever a night after Mania
Ooh, bitch.
appearance. Here's what I would do.
And Mania night, Raw after Mania probably still in Texas somewhere.
Yes. This is what I would do. So this is my way too early WrestleMania predictions, okay?
Okay.
I would say, as things sit before Cody Rhodes possibly coming in, if it's done, my view would have been Roman Reigns loses to Brock Lesnar, drops the title. We'll get into it. I do think Brock's going to walk out of Elimination Chamber as champion. I think that they'll have. I don't think they're ending the brand split, although I think that they should, and that'll be a topic we'll talk about another day.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think that they are going to unify the titles. And I think the original plan would have been for Brock to finally get the moment. That being said, because I do think that Roman was going to drop the title before he had COVID.
Day one.
Day one. That being said, I'm rewriting this now. I'm having these two guys close out night 2. I'm going title for title. I'm having Roman go over. And I'm hitting that music with Cody. And I'm closing out the last image that I have of WrestleMania. I'm having Cody come out and confront Roman face to face. Stare it down. Roman holds the titles up. And then you can have a feud where Roman's on both shows for a while, but eventually Cody can be a free agent, show up on both shows for a while, and eventually go for one of those titles. And you can put Cody on, have Cody go over Roman. Roman is still a champion that you can continue to move forward to build to next year's WrestleMania. Have him hold on to, say, the Universal title. He can carry that title for another year.
Right.
Get to Rock. And then you can have Cody be the face of Raw, which desperately could use another face on Raw.
Yes, Raw desperately because Brock's not sticking around long term.
Right. So this is that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm. This is my way too early WrestleMania prediction. Cody Rhodes shows up at WrestleMania, confronts Roman. They go off the air with those two staring at each other with the titles raised. He comes out the next night. He tells Roman, I'm coming for you. They have a few things back and forth, and eventually Cody takes the WWE title off of Roman.
I like it.
Which means it's never going to happen because it makes way too much sense.
I was thinking even where because I'm not in the agreement that Brock is winning on Saturday. I think Roman's going to find a way to screw him again because I think Roman knows that's the easiest to get Brock to what he wants ultimately. And I think Lashley still wins, or I think it's a long shot. Riddle wins. And if Riddle wins,
and you get Orton, it could be. That would be interesting. But then, how do you get Brock into the main event against Roman?
He won the Rumble.
Oh, right, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying he won. So he already won the Rumble. I think
they teased the title for title thing for so long at this point.
They have.
I love what Todd says here. Did they put the title on AJ yet? Because that's the Mania match. They didn't. It's not going to happen. Right. But that would be that. I hope that I want to see Cody take the title, and give me Cody and AJ at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Give me Cody and AJ at SummerSlam, and I'm in.
Yep.
So we're going to give, let me read the fourth topic sponsor.
Okay.
Because I know we're going to be hopping off in a few minutes. So we won't cover the whole card. We'll just kind of give our quick hitter predictions on Elimination Chamber. But our fourth topic, Elimination Chamber preview, and we'll still throw in the Cody stuff here. It's brought to you by Gleason's Bar. It's located at 6700 Mill Creek Ave in Levittown, PA. Walk in, promo code A2D. It's going to get you 10% off of any dine-ins, takeouts, or online ordering. So make sure let them know that we sent you. Get your little discount. Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com. Great place. Check them out. Great steaks. Elimination Chamber. We don't believe that that's going to happen. Let me pull up the card. So we're getting the ring.
What's bell time? 2:00? 12 o'clock?
Noon, which is good because I have a wedding to go to on Saturday night. So at least I'll be able to watch the whole card. I love the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. It's what I've always wanted. I've always loved and would love that they would have kept around. I hate that it's in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Okay, so the match listing. So you think who's your pick for the Elimination Chamber? We have Bobby Lashley, champion, defending against Brock, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, Riddle, and AJ Styles. Give me your winner and your dark horse.
Lashley's my winner. Dark horse is Riddle.
Okay. I'm going Lesnar wins.
Okay.
My dark horse, I'm going to go with AJ Styles. Set up for Cody Rhodes if they want to go that route instead of going with Roman Reigns right away.
Okay.
Roman Reigns and Goldberg, the match we were supposed to get 2 years ago, finally getting it out. I'm okay with it. That I'm glad is in Saudi Arabia. But Roman and Goldberg, who you got?
Roman, I just hope Goldberg doesn't hurt Roman. That's the biggest fear. I just want Goldberg him to be safe and protect Roman.
Could you imagine if that happens?
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, I got Roman as well. Match I'm looking forward to. I think the pick is obvious, but the match I'm really looking forward to. I was kind of hoping we would get this at Mania. Becky Lynch and Lita.
Becky.
I was hoping we'd get Lita versus Charlotte at Mania, but Becky Lynch and Lita, going to be cool to see Lita back in the ring in a title match against somebody that we haven't seen her go against.
Right.
Thoughts on this quickly?
Becky, because you have that's where they put themselves in the corner where you have a women's elimination championship match for the number one contendership for Mania. And I'm like, Becky hasn't lost in over 500 days.
Yeah.
When she loses, it's not going to be in Saudi Arabia soil. You feel what I'm saying? So, Becky.
Yeah, I agree. I think Becky comes out of this on top. But I'm looking forward to the match. I'm looking forward to seeing Lita in that kind of one more spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
I would have rather seen it be a Mania moment, but so we have Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Doudrop, Nikki ASH, and newly entered Alexa Bliss. I hate this stuff that they got going on, by the way.
Yeah.
Newly entered Alexa Bliss going into the Elimination Chamber. I would have liked to have maybe after. I know Asuka, I believe, is clear now, so she could.
Yeah, she was hurt pretty bad, right?
I think she might be a night after WrestleMania person. So, who do you have in this match, and do you have a dark horse?
It's probably going to. I want to say it's probably going to be Bianca.
Agreed.
Dark horse though would probably be Rhea, but I just think she's so different. I don't think they know what to do with her long term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think it's ultimately going to be that full almost year circle to where now Becky can't run from Bianca anymore. So,
you know what's fascinating about this match, and maybe this is actually one time that WWE actually got it right. There are a number of possibilities. There are people who would have a quote unquote legitimate gripe with Charlotte to build a feud around. You have Liv Morgan, who, if you remember when Charlotte came out and ran everybody down, Liv Morgan was one of those, she's not good enough. She's a blonde. She went away, cried, and left for 6 months or whatever it was. Rhea Ripley, who dropped the NXT title to Charlotte a few years ago. You have Alexa Bliss, who had her toy torn apart. And you have, obviously, Bianca Belair. I'm going to go with Bianca and Alexa as the dark horse because they do have to round this feud out at some point. I also find it hard to bring Bianca or Alexa back at this point.
Right.
And not have a vision for her. And really the only person I see in this because a lot of times they'll use this match and they'll build out a feud from it. I don't see anybody else that we could see. a few. To me, Rhea and Nikki are going to continue their thing.
Right.
Liv's kind of just there. I love Liv.
They
She's kind of
changed her music. I don't like it. They sped it up. And then
we have the Usos and the Viking Raiders. The Usos, I don't even think we need to dive too much into that. Drew McIntyre and this is a long card, by the way. Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss. True.
Madcap, his physique, his body is ridiculous.
I'm kind of becoming a fan of Madcap, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, yeah.
Rey Mysterio and The Miz. Honestly, this is a match you could have did at WrestleMania.
Yep.
I mean, a legend. I don't know. I hate that this is being wasted.
You got at this point. You have to say two legends.
Yeah, I agree. Miz is a Hall of Famer.
Two legends. Yeah.
I got Miz in this one. What's up, Wills?
What's up, Wills? Yeah. Because I think it's gonna lead to Miz Dominic Mania potentially, especially with 2 nights. You're gonna have matches like that.
I disagree. I think we're gonna get Dominic and Rey at Mania.
You think it's finally happening?
It's gonna happen at some point. I mean, if they don't do it for Mania, it has to be done at SummerSlam.
Okay.
And I don't know if they can make it that long. So I'm going with Miz in this. Ronda Rousey and Naomi versus Charlotte and Sonya Deville.
Charlotte and Sonya Deville.
See, I gotta go Ronda. I
don't think you have to have. Ronda doesn't have to take the pin. Naomi can easily take the pin.
Ronda ain't taking an L. Ronda is not taking an L, bro.
You don't think so?
There's a reason Sonya's in this match.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, if you look at it that way, to where you still can keep Charlotte whole, she looks good, she doesn't lose, and Sonya takes the pin, then yeah. I mean, okay, you swayed me.
Yeah, I don't see any possibility that goes any other way.
Wilson said, "What's up, boys? As a 2-time winner at Chrome's inaugural Royal Raffle, I say I'm a now wrestler guy."
Nice, I like it.
I mean, you can be a wrestler. You're tall as shit.
He won 2 of the Rumble, of the stuff in the Rumble pool, bastard. I'm like, of course, the guy that doesn't watch
at all. This was important.
That's all I got, man. That's it. That's the card. So make sure you guys check that out. That'll be on Peacock, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. WWE Network if you're international. I saw our UK peeps were in here. Make sure you guys, I don't know what the time would be where you live. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not doing the math for it. But check your local listings. Always wanted to say that. Check your local listings for time and channel. But lots to look forward to. Really, really big news in pro wrestling this week. Mm-hmm. Last little shot. I'm just going to throw it out there. Quick thoughts. I saw somebody ask about it. He said it used to be ending in like 2000. I may be coax back. I'll pull you in. I'll get you in, Wills.
Yeah, we'll put you against Nick Gage. There you go.
Agree on Sundays.
Woodbury's finest, Nick Gage.
That's it. Beautiful. I love it. Just real quick, because another major story, which totally overshadowed by Cody Rhodes, which is amazing. The very, very legitimate possibility of Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out of retirement for a match or possibly a couple of matches
with Kevin.
Well, the match would be Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. However, there's also been reports that it could be one of those a couple of matches on a deal.
So this is where the medical advancement has come so far. He probably seen Edge come back and was like, "Hey, I had a similar surgery done. What? I mean, can I? Oh, yeah, okay. That'd be huge, bro.
I will tell you right now, if Austin is at Mania, I have no intentions of going to Dallas. I may have to make the trip to Dallas then.
But do you think they would announce it?
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, it'd be him and KO.
Or do you think it would be like The Rock and
No. Oh, I recall.
Or no, like Cena Undertaker type spot.
No. They'll announce this because they're having issues selling tickets. I think they only have 50,000 tickets sold combined for both days, and they can fit 80,000 per night. So that's why I think I would like to see the surprise of Cody, but if that's legitimate, they can bring him in. I could see them pulling the Cody card and the Austin card to boost ticket sales for WrestleMania. And if Triple H can get in the ring, it would not shock me if he gets into the ring at WrestleMania with Cody.
So, like,
you could still do that closing moment.
Yeah.
With Roman, by the way, if you want to go that route of eventually having the Cody Roman.
Because then you initiate Cody with Triple H. We have that match. Cody
comes out at the end of the night and faces
comes
him.
out at the end of the night. Yeah. Oh. I may have to make that trip with you, bitch, if that's...
I'm just saying, if they announce that ahead of time, we gotta reevaluate what our plans are for WrestleMania. As of now, I'm planning to just have some people over and do a party.
Right.
But keep that noted. But
okay,
yeah, we'll see. But man, this was a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
I haven't been on to do wrestling talk. I mean, I hopped on with Andy a few times, but to get back on, do an official episode of Lazy Booking for the first time in like 7 months, we couldn't not talk about Cody. We couldn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guys are gonna. And for all you guys who want to get more conversation in on it, please make sure you guys tune in Saturday night, 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. Eastern time here on A2D Radio. Lots of great comments too. We appreciate you guys jumping in and commenting over on the tube and on the book. Make sure you guys check out In This Very Ring Saturday nights here consistently on A2D Radio. We're going to be easing Lazy Booking back in, so we're not consistently back on yet, but you can go back and check out our archives. Got a hell of a lot of interviews that you can go back and check out. And we may have a couple on the horizon when we start really rolling the show back out. I'm working on getting a guest on pretty soon. Right now, we're kind of just doing spot shows. Right. But again, you want the consistent weekly show of wrestling for all you nerds out there In This Very Ring, Saturday nights here on a2dradio.com. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and following, sharing out our videos on all the social platforms that you're a part of, all of our content, tweet, everything, Instagram. We're all over the place. If you're a podcaster, you don't get a chance to watch. Hey, guess what? We're on Apple Podcasts and every other major podcast platform that you could possibly get to. So make sure you guys are checking them out as well. But again, we have to give a shout out to our sponsor here, Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doctor. Make him yours. You can find him in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. No appointment necessary. Hit up the doc, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And obviously, we're going to read through them, but all the sponsors we had, we love them. But Pete, thank you for hopping on, joining me.
Anytime, brother.
You did a marathon night here, bud. I kind of
double duty.
Skated in halfway through Birds of a Feather.
Well, you had more impressive things going on, so it was cool.
Ted says your interview with Bushwhacker Luke was great, and Headbanger Mosh too. Yeah, thank you so much, Ted. Yeah, we had a lot of really great ones. Speaking of Ted DiBiase was one of the ones. Ken Shamrock, Nick Aldis. I mean,
Shamrock in the shades, bro.
3-parter with Shane Douglas, 3-parter with Bill Alfonso, Tony Atlas, and Bob Orton. I mean, Candice Michelle. There's so many that we did. Andy says, yeah, well, his show was better because mine wasn't happening. That's the only reason that's actually a thing. But
I can say this: me and Chrome, when we're on together, don't look alike, like Andy and Butters.
No, not at all. Him and Butters, different story. I don't know what's going on over there. But listen, great time, and I want to say a special thank you for Jake Friel hopping in here on the back end, doing a last-minute produce job for us. Appreciate you, Jake, for all the efforts you put in.
Yes, sir.
So for myself, for everybody here at A2D Radio, make sure you guys are checking out, liking, subscribing, following everything. Check out all our archives. Check out all our talk on James Harden deal. Lots of different perspectives you got. Super Bowl recaps all week. Going into the off season. Hopefully, we're going to have baseball coming up at some point soon. The Flyers suck, but the best hockey show that you're going to find, and they talk a lot of national, not just Philly, Hockey Happy Hour on Tuesday nights. That's our normal time as well, Tuesday nights, and we'll be rolling back in, getting them Tuesday night lazy bookings back in very soon, I promise. I'm just kind of reacclimating myself back to things. So thank you guys. We appreciate you. Tell somebody out there that you love and give them a hug. For myself, for Pete, for Jake, Tom Arno, and everybody here at A2D Radio, have a wonderful rest of your week and an even better weekend. We out.